Hi everyone, Leah here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com with another fun beading video for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to go take a look at our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll always know when we're posting new content. If you're familiar with my videos, you know that I love projects that don't take many pieces to make, and this is a great earring for just that. We only have a few components here, and you will have a beautiful drippy earring that's really easy to make and fast. So what we're going to need are some 1-inch long ball end head pins, and these are in a beautiful sort of matte copper color. I have my ear wire here because I'm going to make the other half of that earring I just showed you. And I have some 4mm bicones. This is in jet 2xAB, and these are the new ELITE Eureka Bicones from Eureka Crystal Beads. These are made in Austria, and you're simply going to love the quality and the color selection. That's all we need. That's all we need for this. So the thing to mention about this earring, though, is that you can have fun with how you make it, because you can make it longer than this or even shorter than this. The technique will be the same, and you can get a drippier, longer look, or you can go with something a bit more casual and everyday and make it even shorter than this if you like. This one is 8 bicones long, and so that's what I had over here to make the other half. But you can also play around with sizes. So you could have smaller beads at the bottom and larger beads at the top, or you could have the smaller beads at the top and the larger beads at the bottom. So have fun with it. But let's get into it. All right, now as far as tools go, we're going to be using your standard 3 wire working tools that many people have in their beader's toolbox. We have our chain nose pliers. These are smooth inside and they taper to a point. We have our round nose pliers. These also taper to a point, but they are not flat inside in any way. They're like 2 ice cream cones. There's no flat edges. And of course, we have our side cutters here. And we have all of these tools available to you on EurekaCrystalBeads.com if you need them. So I'm going to lay out our materials here. You're going to love this technique because sometimes you want a really drippy earring, but maybe you don't have chain lying around to dangle your beads off of. This technique basically creates its own chain. So we're going to start by putting one of our bicones, one of our beautiful ELITE Eureka Bicones, onto our head pin here. And we're just going to bend that head pin out from the top of the crystal. Depending on the head pins that you use, you may be able to do it with your fingers like I did, or you may have to use a tool. Head pins can vary sometimes in their hardness, but if you get these ones from us on the website, these are really nice and easy to bend. They're a little bit soft. We're going to trim it down about halfway. Now, we trimmed it down about halfway because we're using a 4mm bicone and we were only using 1-inch head pins. If you were using a different size bead or you were using a longer head pin, you would have to trim off a different amount, but you basically want to leave about 1/4 of an inch or so. Now we're going to grab the tip of the wire with our round nose pliers and we're going to curl a loop just like that. And if it's looking a little bit wonky into the side, you can use your chain nose pliers just to straighten that right out. And just make sure that you look at it really close. You want to see that that loop is closed. Because remember, if your loop is at all open, it could come off your earring, and we don't want that. Now, the way we start to make the chain is really interesting. You're going to take your next head pin. You're going to stick your bicone right on there. And then we're going to take this end and we're going to slip it through this loop. And the bicone being there is what will prevent that ball end of the head pin from just going right through. And you can see how we start to create a little bit of an angle there. Now, what I love, again, about these head pins is that I can just go and bend it right like that. But again, you might have to just take your chain nose pliers and make that bend with the pliers if it's a head pin that's a little harder. Now, again, I'm going to cut off about half of this wire. And we're going to roll another loop. Just like that. Now I'm going to take another head pin and another bicone and stick it right through. And what's nice is that it doesn't matter what direction you stick it from because the whole thing can turn. So this is such a fail-proof technique. You don't have to worry about something moving around or flipping around. It all just kind of settles down. So you can see how we start to get that sort of zigzag, almost zippered look. So just like we did before, we're going to bend that wire out. We're going to trim it down and roll our loop. Just guide that loop shut if you have to. Now we're going to take our next head pin here, put our bicone on it, stick it through the loop. Nice and easy. You can see how, oops, it's flipping all around. How we start to get that very branchy pattern that you see on this one here. See how they zigzag back and forth, and they create such a lovely look that gives you the sense that you're dangling crystals from a piece of chain, but there's no chain. So I really love this technique because of that. So I'm going to show you one more time. We have our bicone on our head pin there. We slipped it through the loop and we're trimming it down. We're going to roll our loop, guide it shut, take our new head pin, our new bicone, and slip it through. And look, you can see that beautiful pattern creating that neat zigzag pattern. And I'm just going to keep going. And again, you can make this as long or as short as you want. You can have beautiful, long, drippy earrings. You can have a short little cluster right at your ear. It's really up to you. It's a really nice way to get length and get something very drippy looking without use of a chain, which I think to me is just, worth the price of admission. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the last 3 bicones, and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, I have all 8 of my bicones on there, looking beautiful and sparkly in Jet 2XAB, one of my favorite colors because of how beautiful and saturated it is. And now it's just a matter of getting it on our ear wire. So I'm going to use my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to go to the opening of the ear wire. Just swivel that thing over to the side. You're going to get your top loop on there. And then swivel it back shut. Now, I love the copper findings because they're very rose goldy, and rose gold is so beautiful and unique and different and so hot. So I love using these copper findings, but you can have fun playing around with your metal choices: silver, bronze, copper, something oxidized, something shiny, something matte. You have so many options with how many different types of findings and finishes there are out there. I personally love the beautiful contrast that you get from the copper to the blue-green of this particular color bicone, but really you can't go wrong with a lovely neutral metal and a beautiful sparkly crystal. And I love the sparkle of the Eureka, the ELITE Eureka Bicones that are made in Austria. You're going to love them, and you're going to love this earring style. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Head on over to the website if you want everything to make this pair of earrings in this color scheme or any other color scheme you'd like. We got you covered. Bye.